Live. Going live. Hey, good evening, everybody. LK here. I've got the real Dr. Venkman, except no substitutes. How you doing?
I am doing wonderful, sir.
Yep. And a very happy Sunday to Evil Black Cat.
Bah
If
humbug.
I say 0-1, does that make you feel bad?
Mm, no, I just look at the table and say, "Where are you guys again?"
Oh yeah. Hey, hey, I've resigned myself. And we may be looking for a new manager at the end of the season, just like you. So we'll see.
Yeah,
But
at least we're like 2 points away. So if City fumble, there's still hope.
yeah, but we won't bore folks with the football, aka soccer talk. This is talking about the X-Men. So we've seen way back at South by Southwest, of course, Marvel made their big announcement. They're revamping the X-Men line.
Yep.
We heard about initially the creators on the three core titles. It was also announced that at that moment they had also announced six other uh, secondary titles, I guess. This past week, Marvel put out press releases touting the new creative teams for three of those secondary books. And we got some additional information on the X-Men book from Jed MacKay and Ryan Stegman. So we thought we'd go ahead and take a look because we've got enough information right now based on the creatives for six of these books and synopsis for them. And let's dive in and see. I mean, they're saying this is going to be a new direction. Is it? Is this going to say rise from the ashes of Krakoa and actually be a new era of X-Men, or is Marvel going to continue down the same path that it has before?
By
So
new direction, they're going to go down towards rock bottom, but at a steeper angle.
well, I mean, we'll see. So we're gonna, I'll kick this off. So the first book that's coming out for the X-Men in July, the first of the core books, is the X-Men book from Jed MacKay and Ryan Stegman. So Jed MacKay, here, let me just turn the banner off here. Um,
Mid K.
Jed, Jed MacKay. I know he's done Avengers. I believe he's leading this Blood Hunt,
Yep.
or the
It's
main,
his.
the main architect for the Blood Hunt.
He's been doing Doctor Strange, Avengers of Moon Knight, or taking over. Yeah, he's been doing that. He's
Yeah,
been all right into those. But
He's
yeah,
in Avengers. He's in Doctor Strange. He is doing Moon Knight. Basically, like Kate's back in 2018. He is Marvel found a good writer, so they're stretching him out everywhere.
yeah, and I think that at least for me, that's been a real problem. His Doctor Strange I found okay. I know a lot of people liked his Moon Knight. I've checked out a couple issues, not bad. His Avengers stuff really didn't interest me at all, and yeah, for Marvel just keeps piling stuff on him, and I see
yep.
him kind of going. To me, he's become the DC Joshua Williamson. Whereas when Williamson was focused, had one book or two books, stuff was really good, really solid, really tight. I still will recommend his Batman and Robin, or his Robin series. Although Batman and Robin's not that bad, but the specific
No,
Robin Damian Wayne book was really a lot of fun. But
he's
as
Superman's been great, and he's been working also. He's also writing Green Arrow as well.
okay,
Yeah.
He's
So
also
well,
writing Duke.
I know that when he got put in
Yeah.
charge of the one Batman event, a lot of people didn't like that.
well,
Um,
so Joshua Williamson's his short little run on Batman, the main title, it was after Tinian. He did 5 issues, and he had Batman goes to China. People were pissed, like Batman should never leave Gotham.
yeah,
It's like I was like, it's like, dude, he went there. Lex Luthor says he knows who Batman is. I'm like, and you're like, okay, cool. It was a nothing burger. But where
yeah.
he fits right now is Superman, the best.
Yeah. So let me read off the blurb here, and you guys can tell me what you think about this. So, no longer living under the protection of Krakoa, it's a dangerous time for mutants everywhere, and dangerous times call for radical action. I didn't realize we're back in the 90s. Cyclops gathers a group of his most trusted and reliable mutant soldiers, along with the brightest of the next generation, to tackle the most prevalent threats to mutant kind, including existential new enemy that rises out of the remains of Orcus. Prepare for a reckoning as this team handles explosive mutant-specific issues without restraint. Humanity can hate them all they want as long as they fear them.
All right.
So the team that they've announced is Cyclops is going to be the leader. The team's going to include Beast, Magneto, Psylocke, Magic, Kid Omega, Temper, and Juggernaut. So what are your guys' initial impressions on that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, as a whole, all together, there's too many books. There's too many. No. As I said, right now they're basically like, well, let's make it. They're trying to be like a manga thing in a sense where manga has you can cater different teams to different people. So if you want to read this, we'll have this. You want to read this, we'll have this. My thing is that it would work better if you're going to have a good writer that excels at writing these types of books in each title. But it just seems like you're just getting the same no matter where you go, no matter what the writer is. Jed McKay might be the best out of all of them that are actually headlining the books,
There's Mike. He is the best out of all.
I was being kind to the others, okay? But I mean, like I said, you brought up the fact that Jed McKay is being stretched kind of thin right now. I mean, is he leaving? He's been doing Avengers. He's going to leave Avengers and then go over the X-Men.
I believe so. I believe that the Avengers is going to have a new group of creators as well. Because Breedwart's left the Avengers, and Jordan White they basically swapped positions.
Yeah. So I think that after he leaves Avengers, he goes to the X-Men, but this will be after Blood Hunt is over, I believe, right? When the X-Men books come out.
It should be.
I would hope so.
It's going to be the first. It's going to be the first Wednesday in July that this book comes out.
Like you say, Doctor Strange has been kind of mediocre. It's been kind of suffering now that he's been kind of like focusing on other things, doing Avengers, and Jed McKay is mid okay at the best at all. But I mean, Moon Knight's been his best book. I didn't read his Avengers book, but Zach read a few of them. He said he liked them. But as far as X-Men, letting back, he's gonna have Cyclops, and then you're gonna have Juggernaut on a team with Cyclops. Juggernaut should never be in any X-Men team. I'm sorry. Juggernaut is always best working as a villain. He's a challenge they have to overcome.
Yes. That was one of my initial thoughts as well. I'll add my thoughts in later. Black Cat, what are your initial thoughts?
I might check this out, but I'm not interested in it.
Also,
I'm over Magneto being a good guy.
Yeah. So interested in that. You don't want to see. Basically, it sounds like this is kind of a strike team that's going to be working in the shadows, or going to be doing the nasty stuff that
that is what X-Force is supposed to be, and there is going to be an X-Force book. So what's the point of this?
Yeah, and Wolverine should be the only one leading X-Force.
Yeah, and also, didn't Bendis do this back in 2013 or something?
Yeah, we already did this before. So
yeah. So
well, I mean, everything old is new again. So
all new, all different writer.
Yeah. So I mean, a couple of thoughts. So I mean, I don't know how familiar you guys are with what's happening in Krakoa. I've dipped my toe in off and on just to try and stay connected a little bit. I mean, for those listening or watching, don't know, Orcus is basically the organization that exposed the mutants and led to the downfall of Krakoa. So one of the things about this is, I will be curious to see if they actually address it. And I'll say as we go through the other blurbs, I'm not really sure they are. If you look at what the current state of the Marvel Universe is, if there's not some kind of like serious, like Moira McTaggart, dies, and we get, the new world of the X-Men again, which are kind of teasing, I guess, in the Jonathan Hickman book. But anyways, right now, mutants are hated by the rest of humanity because of what they were doing on Krakoa and how they took advantage of humankind, how they deceived them, how they used them, kind of rightfully so. I mean, when you look at what the council and the leadership at Krakoa was doing, they're villains. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, this was one of the biggest problems with the whole current X-Men run is basically every X-Men was written like a villain.
Well, my thing is this a hard reset or is it a soft reboot?
Well, and that's what we really don't know yet. This whole rise from the ashes, and that's one thing that I'm curious, because if it is a hard reset, okay, then it kind of makes sense. But if it's not, you've got to this is where these writers are short-sighted, and of course we see this in the MCU too, is they don't think about the consequences of stuff they've done before. They just kind of like move forward, and maybe they'll pay it a little bit of lip service, but then it's like, okay, if you really think about it, that just makes sense.
My point being says, if it's not a hard reset and they're still doing the aftermaths of Krakoa being destroyed or whatever, right now you have Sentinels that are built by Tony Stark that a mutant took over his company, and that's been attacking humans and mutants. So it's like, honestly, if they do a hard reset, it's going to piss off a lot of fans, or I mean, whatever fans are left, or because I know at least three people that like the current what's going on X-Men. One of the comic shop fans, he's a fan of this. He says he's like, so restarting this again is stupid because you already pissed off the people that were reading the books. Now then whatever fans you build up with this in the past 3 years or whatever 4 years, now they're going to drop the books. And you pray to God that you're going to get somebody to pick up the new ones. It's one of those things. Why bother? Do I invest in it if you're just going to abandon it?
Yeah. No, it's excellent point.
It's the James Gunn problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few other kind of I guess you can call them kind of nitpicky things.
Yeah.
When I first read this, I laughed out loud when one of the paragraphs describes Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, as arguably the most brilliant strategic mind in the entire Marvel universe. When has that ever been true? Yes, he's a leader, but most of the time, your best leaders aren't your strategists. That's a completely separate person, and I've never seen or thought of Scott as a strategic.
The best leader the X-Men have has been Storm.
Yeah,
I'd argue.
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, the ultimate strategist, was Professor Xavier, and when he hasn't been around, then I've seen, kind of like either Storm or at times maybe Bishop.
Yep.
Cyclops is way down that list. He's got other leadership qualities, and we call him, kind of the Boy Scout, because usually he has that moral code, which again is going to be interesting in terms of how this goes. My other things were, just like Juggernaut, Magneto should never be part of a team. If he's a team, he's the leader. He's always been a leader. So that just I don't know how that's gonna make sense. And then lastly, if it's not a hard reset, what the hell is Beast doing on any team?
Yes,
because Beast was one of the worst characters in Krakoa. He betrayed everybody. So how on earth is he on a team? That's where I've just got serious questions in terms of what is this book actually going to be.
Yep.
So let's see some of the comments on here. Rhaegar's asking, what is a Kid Omega? That was Kid Omega, and honestly, I'm not quite sure.
Kid Omega was a character from the X-Men Academy.
Okay.
He's one of the new kids. He was a pink kid. He always wear the sunglasses.
It's that Quentin Quire guy.
Yeah, the one everybody hated.
Okay. Rhaegar also agrees with you about Juggernaut. Jay saying, any truth to the rumblings that Schwab's health's failing? I'm not quite sure what that's referring to.
Charles Schwab.
Okay. Rhaegar's also saying that I want Scott to be a dummy. So no, not a dummy at all. He's smart, but he's not a strategist. He's not thinking. He's not supposed to be the one thinking 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 steps ahead. So yeah, I mean this is one. I mean, out of the core titles, this is the one that I'd be most willing to kind of check out. But if this is the best, then oh boy.
I will listen to like 5, 6 reviews of people I trust, and then decide whether I want to buy it or
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
and
that's
look at the price tag on it.
very, very fair. So the next book here I'll bring up is the one that was announced, just the full details we got a couple days ago. And this is, call it Nyx. It's really NYX. I had a feeling it wasn't going to have anything to do with Nyx when it got announced. That I thought, okay, New York, they haven't had, they didn't announce a New York book yet. So let's get a New York book. So we are getting NYX from the esteemed writers Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing. And I'll tell you, actually, as I was looking up some info about Lansing and Kelly, I was shocked to discover that it appears that they're straight. For some reason, I got the impression that they were actually living together because I thought, like,
Wait,
at one point,
the
like, they had
writers?
an apartment that burned down in LA or something. But I was looking at this bio for Jackson Lansing on Simon and Schuster, and it talked about his writing partner and how they and their wives would get together, and they live not too far from each other in Los Angeles. And I was like, oh my god, Marvel actually is hiring straight white men to write
Yeah,
books.
they're just two friends that just enjoy writing together. They started off in indie books, and then they got picked up by Marvel. They did some stuff over DC. They ruined Batman Beyond. They ruined Captain America. So
Yeah.
you
So
can't ruin the X-Men. They already X-Men already ruined.
They
So
are they are basically very, very discounted dollar store Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning.
Yeah.
Yeah, or your not even, I'd say your Mexican equivalent, your what Ecuadorian equivalent.
They are the Spanish. They have the Spanish announcer table at WrestleMania.
They're not even that's too good. They're not even in the Spanish announce table.
You know what's going to happen with each book?
Yeah, they're like the Mandarin announce table that's up in the second deck.
They are the Xian version.
Wait, they're the
Sunny
Mandarin from
version.
Iron Man 3. You think you're getting the Mandarin, and it's not the Mandarin.
So I mean, so I will admit I may have to recalculate what my thoughts and fears were about this book. I still don't necessarily think it's good because I think that Lansing and Kelly are mediocre writers at best. If anybody's interested, you can see my true opinions of them by watching my bad comic beatdown I did with Dalton this week on Outsiders #6, where I basically want to swear every other word because they're desecrating Planetary Authority and Warren Ellis.
They're writing Outsiders? I didn't know they were writing Outsiders.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's basically a backdoor Planetary book. It's absolutely disgusting, but we won't talk about that here. We'll focus on NYX here. So,
Ruger, I just want to say I didn't watch Shang-Chi, so I wouldn't know that regardless. I skipped it because it looked boring. It didn't look like an actual good kung fu movie.
Yeah. So we get the kind of synopsis here, and again, this is where I really have my concerns about it. You see in the third paragraph there, like the 2000s groundbreaking original series, NYX won't shy away from reflecting the harsh realities of life as a mix of iconic and fan favorite mutants re-enter a world filled with bigotry, mistrust, and misinformation. Free from the X-Men's guidance and Krakoa's protection, they'll shut out the noise and overcome the hate by doing what they do best, evolving. And when I hear the phrase re-enter a world filled with bigotry, mistrust, and misinformation, my immediate thought is, oh my God, they're basically going to take the self-perceived LGBTQ XYZ plus minus $ community activists, whatever, and their warped sense of persecution and oppression and basically apply it to mutants. And it's going to be a book that hammers you over the head with every current day allegory. Oh wow, look who's joined us. Our
We
master
say current day, and the thing from the past shows up.
You gonna take that, Eric?
Oh, I don't give a crap what he says. I just can't.
Yeah.
I was watching and I heard the description of NYX.
Yeah.
And gee, you'd never know it was an election year. Because I promise you, every issue that comes out between #1 and November is gonna be just 4-colored propaganda.
Orange Man bad is what you're saying? Yeah.
Wait, so Nick, is that X-Men living in New York?
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be set in New York, which again too I laugh at because as far as I know, Lansing and Kelly are West Coast guys. They currently live in Los Angeles. So what kind of New York experience are they going to be tapping into
9/11.
for this book?
Well, if they were
yeah,
if they could write, then it wouldn't matter because I said it. You don't have to have lived every experience you write about, which is something that modern day progressives can't seem to grasp.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have gone out and done some kind of living, or in lieu of that, some kind of research, none of which is required at Marvel. So to answer your question, it'll be what they wish it would be, plus conservative bigotry and everything else.
Wow.
Because they've got a candidate to get over the finish line. So
Yeah.
it's going to be just.
They'll just watch episodes of Law and Order SVU.
Did they forget that
the white guy did it?
So my question is, they said it says this is Wolverine in the shadows protecting her own. Did they forget that she's no longer calling herself Wolverine in the books anymore?
They're going to force it again.
Oh.
Well, I mean, who knows? But here's the thing, though. She's going to be a secondary character. The top billed character in this, if you saw the artwork promoting it, as it says here, this is a book about mutants living past their end of the world and into a new beginning. This is Ms. Marvel, aka Kamala Khan, embracing her mutant life in the neon streets of the Lower East Side. Now, last we saw of Ms. Marvel, she was currently trying to go to college, I believe at Empire State. There was one, or is there another mini series right now being co-written by the actress that played her in the TV show and the movie that
there is basically just one.
Yeah. Which I took a look at it.
Paragraph
Yeah, I mean the series wasn't bad. So again, it sounds to me like they're taking her away from that and plunking her into the neon East Side, whatever that is. Some mutant called Enol trying to keep his head above water. Wolverine,
basically the gay lizard or frog.
Okay.
Thing.
Wait, they're putting her into the neon lights in the street. Oh, they're turning her into a prostitute.
Yeah,
I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
I'm going to go on a limb and say Ms. Marvel is the only, well, maybe Laura, the only two straight characters in the book.
No.
I don't think they're going to let Laura stay straight because they have been trying to push that for years.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, it'd be Ms. Marvel. But my prediction, I bet she encounters racism, sexism, Islamophobia, and a few others that you can, while she tries to register at ESU.
Yeah.
All of which will probably magically go away in the December issue.
I'm gonna say that she's gonna do the Mia Khalifa route.
Oh yeah, and what, Free Palestine in her bio?
No, she'll have an OnlyFans account.
Oh no. But like I said,
I will die laughing if they somehow reference Free Palestine with Kamala Khan in this book. That would be just ultimate Marvel. I would die laughing. But we also see too we're getting a Cuckoo, and of course Sophie Cuckoo is going to find her own way, aka she's going to learn that she's gay or bi. And it says here, reports are bleak, streets feel dangerous, something's lurking underground, evil's coming from root direction. This is NYX. And of course, we get the quote here from Colin Kelly. This is the kind of book we came to Marvel to create. Well, it's interesting because, I mean, dear God, you guys have had multiple Marvel books shoved upon you, and you have failed in almost every turn. Your Captain America was not good. Your Thunderbolts is mediocre at best right now. Your Guardians of the Galaxy is
Their
unbelievable.
Thunderbolts is canceled.
There you go.
In
But I love
issue
it.
4, I think. Issue 4 or 5, it got canceled.
Yeah. So in other words, it was just a 4 or 5 issue miniseries.
Yeah.
So the Hive Mind, that's what Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing call themselves. They bonded over books like Runaways, Young Avengers, and the original Knicks, stories that showcased. What's funny to me is the one book that this started to remind me of that nobody in here mentioned. Did anybody read? I think it was the second book called Mutant X. It was when Jamie Madrox, Multiple Man, had the detective agency.
I've heard of it. I remember him having a detective agency. So
yeah, and so
I've
basically,
heard of a show called. I remember liking a show called Agent X, but that was like Sharon
Now
Stone.
there was a mini series that led into Peter David's second go round with X Factor.
maybe it was called District X.
No, that's a totally different storyline.
There was a story, yeah, with I think Gambit was part of the Polaris and all of them, and Jamie Madrox. They were all like part of the
Gambit wasn't.
Yeah,
he did join something with Lorna. He was hired, and I remember because they made a big deal about Gambit had a bunch of cats. He was living alone, and then
that might have been years and years after I stopped reading.
This is about like 5 years ago.
But I'm talking about like the mini series that L's confusing with another one. That was from like 2005.
Yeah,
Me and X was that bad show that scarred me.
Yeah, well, see, the thing that I remember about the book was, Madrox had his kind of detective agency and would do jobs for mutants, and it focused and kind of showed the world building of this, for lack of a term, I think actually they might even called it Mutant Town, which was this kind of area in New York, where mutants of all stripes could kind of come together. It was like their version of like a Chinatown or
I don't think it's called Mutant X because that was the Havoc series in the late 90s.
Right.
It was called
and
Mutant
I thought they basically like created another book using that title, but it was this one. But anyways, not to go off on that tangent, but that's where I thought, okay, this would be kind of a cool one to do, because you're going to have an area like that, especially if most of humanity hates you because of what you had done to them in terms of like that, all the drug stuff that they were pushing, and just everything that came out of Krakoa. But it doesn't seem like that's the direction that they're going in with this. So with it being Kelly and Lansing, I've got zero interest or expectations on this book. I'm trying to think. What
what if Miss Marvel gets bullied by a bunch of Jewish people? Because they don't like her and stuff. That's the book.
Was it District X? Because this says there's something called District X, the series.
Mm-hmm. It might have been. So it is funny though to point out though that in the own Marvel press release, the two books that they reference to highlight Kelly and Lansing are Timeless and Alien: Black, White, and Blood. So they don't mention Captain America. They don't mention the Guardians of the Galaxy. They don't even mention like the current Thunderbolts. So it's like, okay.
A couple things. The Madrox series was called Madrox.
Oh, was it just Madrox?
Yeah. I had to look it up because I'd forgotten. I couldn't place it either. The other one is like, I'd say it's kind of tongue in cheek, but it's why are you still reading Marvel?
Because I'm a glutton for punishment and kind of want and hope that things might get better, but
that's not going to.
I'm always for me personally, I'm scarce in what I'm reading.
I know you've cut way back. I said I read a Marvel last week. I read Fantastic Four. It was a nice little one-off story.
Yep.
But I don't. That doesn't mean I'm going to go back for the next issue because I fully expect it to go back to being Ryan North.
I got
Ryan North.
Yeah, no. See, I haven't read Fantastic Four at all since Brian North jumped
Well, neither
on.
have I. But this
Yeah.
was like a noir story, and it had a great. The cover was worth it alone, and
Speaking
but
of
but it also was worth it. You know, on the interior, it actually told a clever story.
speaking of Ryan North, have you heard the rumors that he might be doing a Booster Gold series for DC?
Oh dear God!
Black Cat, can't you just let me find out on my own and then start getting angry? I don't want to get angry before it comes out.
Yeah. So, hey, Eric, before I forget, a book that came out this past week that you really need to check out if you haven't read it yet. Check out Uncanny Valley #1. I had such a good time reading
What's it
that
called
book.
now?
Uncanny Valley.
What is it? I
It's
don't know.
It's by Tony Fleeks.
I've heard that name. I've never read anything that this
Okay.
person's done.
He did the Stray Cats or whatever it was.
Okay,
Revamp.
yeah, I am not a fan of anthropomorphic blob, whatever that stuff
Okay,
is.
well, this may actually I can't say if this will have anthropomorphic, but so the basic idea is that the cartoon world there's actually a cartoon world that is opposite our what we call real world,
So
and
who framed Roger Rabbit?
and
Cool world.
not quite, because I mean it's like a portal, so it's not like they're like directly connected. So it's not like there's a Toontown the way it is in like Roger Rabbit.
So
But
like you go into a golf hole and into their world.
well, possibly. So I mean, basically, it's
Like Space Jam?
your main character is this kind of junior high age kid who's got his single mom. She's a traveling nurse, so they've moved around a lot. And he's trying to become friends with the with kids at school, and they literally dare him to jump off a bridge. And 3 kids jump off the bridge, and it's about 10 to 15 feet up. 2 of the kids hit the ground and break their legs. He basically hits the ground and leaves a person-shaped hole in the ground, and then picks himself up. He's like, okay, doesn't understand what happened. And then you kind of find out over the course that basically his mom, her
Got blinked by
father,
a tune.
her father is basically Yosemite Sam, and so he is a half breed, and there's bad guys after him.
Oh my gosh.
It's you got to read it though. It's good. It's a lot of fun.
That actually,
it's
that,
like
that
crossover
actually
done
sounds
right.
fun.
Yeah, it's like crossover done right.
Okay, all right. Did you guys? I know it's not the same thing, but the best thing Tom King's ever written, which was the Batman Elmer Fudd crossover, where basically all these characters, like there was Bugs Bunny in human form. Yeah, and
Creepy.
it was a really, really well done book.
Bugs Bunny in human form or Bugs Bunny live action-ish?
No. It was like if Bugs Bunny were a person, what he would look like. And because and Elmer Fudd had already stolen Silver St. Cloud. She pays Elmer Fudd to murder Bruce Wayne or something like that. But some of the old characters have like human, like what they would look like as humans, and it was. And I can't remember who was the artist, but he was good. So I mean, it was actually very good. And it was before Tom King went off the rails too. So that was right around the time we did the Swamp Thing story. So we actually thought he was maybe going to be a good writer, but I like stuff like that. That might be worth checking out. I might give that a look.
Yeah,
if I can remember all the way to Wednesday. But
I'll remind you on Wednesday.
Just read Torpedo instead, okay?
What?
Check out Torpedo.
I'm sorry.
Check out Torpedo.
Yeah, Torpedo 1972.
Okay.
This buddy of mine came in the store. He's a big crime noir guy, but he doesn't give anything a pass. One thing he said 2 things to me yesterday. He goes, "The new Brubaker sucked." I go, "No, it sucked." No, I don't know. It sucked. Okay, it sucked.
There's a new Brubaker book out.
No, the one where the body was or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Because he didn't like that it was the guy. After all that build up, he fell off a ladder. I liked that because that was it was like after all that just shows how random things can be.
Yeah,
it's sort of
that
like
sucks.
it's sort of like you fight like hell to stay alive, blah blah, and then you walk out in front of a bus. To me, I said, Brubaker's earned, a pass on if he wants to do something like that. But anyway, I said, what are you reading? He goes, Torpedo 1972. So, and I said, this guy is, if he was a professor, he would flunk 99% of the class. So if he likes something, you can trust him. It's good.
Yeah, I
well,
know a
definitely worth a
jackass
check
like
out.
that.
Yeah. Let me
that was my
get a
uncle.
couple of the comments here. So Rhaegar is saying we don't like the taste of mustard bigotry. Yes, that's right. I prefer ketchup.
Ketchup
Jim
and bigotry.
Sorensen was saying what they should do for that is build off of the community from the Beauty and the Beast miniseries. Okay, that wouldn't be bad. Imrani, so Eric, since you joined late, in the X-Men announcement, one of the things that I found curious was they are claiming that Scott Summers is the best strategist in the Marvel universe. Would you agree? Or strategist?
Okay, first of all, if you're talking about the X-Men universe, you're not curious. You're bi-curious at best. And if you want to say Scott is second to Captain America, I'll listen. But they're promoting an X book, so
Yeah.
But yes, he has been a strategist over the years. I mean, hell, going back to the stuff we read tonight. If you want to make that argument, like I said, and Batman's not a Marvel character.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, he's been a team leader for the better part of 60 years. I said I'll still take Captain America, but he's up there.
Okay, I never saw him as the strategist for the X-Men. I mean the simple fact that if he was such a great strategist, why wasn't he part of the Illuminati?
Because Charles Xavier was his mentor. You don't need him when you've got. It's just the only reason why Captain America became a member was I think they kicked Tony out or whatever.
Well, he wasn't
an original
Fury out too. Nick Fury wasn't part of the Illuminati.
And then they, I said, but no, it's. I would say he is a very good strategist. But I mean, I said, when did you start regularly reading X-Men books?
Oh, I mean, it would have been the 80s.
I mean, I go back to the 70s.
Yeah.
So I mean, I go back to I started. I think with X-Men 100, and I went back and read the other ones because you could afford to back then.
Mm-hmm.
And he was making decisions even then because Charles wasn't always around, and like I say, I mean, again though they're promoting a book with Cyclops in it, so I have no problem with that. I mean, I have plenty of problems with Marvel. What's that? 99 problems. That isn't one of them.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we'll move on. So this is the third book coming out in July. So this is the write-up for the upcoming X-Force book. So this is being written by Jeffrey Thorne, who probably most of the people on the stream are going to know from.
Who?
Now, okay, so I guess I'm in the very small minority. I didn't read his entire. Yes. I didn't read his entire run. I think I read the first 4 or 5 issues, and I didn't mind it.
Who the hell is Jeffrey Thorne?
Well, he's also a screenwriter
for what?
He was a regular on In the Heat of the Night. He was. He was an actor before he was a writer.
Okay.
If you go back to if you check in the Carol O'Connor, I think I don't know if it was still Howard K. Rollins or Carl Weathers by then, but yeah, he was in about 100.
Really? Okay.
But what has he written that's famous?
He wrote Green Lantern, and it was terrible. The only person whose opinion anybody respects in this community that even gave him a partial pass was Purge.
Yeah.
I was asking what TV shows he's done.
In the Heat of the Night.
Yeah. No, well, and
he said he started on it. He's a screenwriter.
Yeah, he's done some other stuff.
I said he was an actor in the Heat of the Night.
Yeah, it says he's a screenwriter though in the paragraph.
Yeah, he's also he's transitioned basically into a screenwriter.
Oh, he's transitioning. That's great.
Mazel tov.
Moved over, all right. So anyway, so apparently this group is going to be led by Forge.
He wrote the movie "He's My Girl" in City of Angels. I'll give him that though. That was a good movie.
Yeah. Well, the one thing too, I mean, Eric, I'll take away is because when he was on those wonderful Perch live streams back in the day, God, it seems like those were like 10 and 15 years ago. The way that time moves when you get older. He definitely has a genuine love of comic books. Which
I'm not I will get
lot of the other
agree
writers.
with that.
What?
I agree with that. He does. And I know he didn't want to do all of the things that he did.
Yeah.
Because it was basically at the time DC wanted to promote JoJo Mullen's fine ass in Teen Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only two lanterns they gave a shit about. I guess
Yeah.
they didn't even care about John Stewart, so it wasn't because I guess he didn't check enough boxes at the time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact that they weren't good, and I think towards the end I think he started getting a little defensive about it too. So we'll see what happens with the X book. I don't think it'll be I don't think it'll be anything. I won't.
It started off interesting, but it became like his book just. I had to drop it. Like I actually did give it a pass for the first few issues, like up to issue 4 or 5 was all right. After that, it just became unreadable.
Yeah, fair enough. So this comic book squad is going to be built from the ground up, by Forge. He is now an Omega level degree of power, and the team is also going to include Rachel Summers, Betsy Braddock, who should still be Psylocke, but I won't get into that. Sage, Surge, and Tank. To save nothing short of existence itself, they'll jump sword, gun, and fist into deadly uncertainty. The only thing getting in their way will be the secrets they keep. So it's another, kind of, as it says here, handpicked team of mutants in off-the-book mission so dire, so integral to the fate of the universe, there's no time to stop for permission. So again, so here's the real problem. The X-Men book sounds like it's going to be a group of mutants doing things without permission to try and save people. X-Force book sounds like it's going to be a group of mutants off the books doing wet work that they don't have permission for.
Which I know that Rachel Summers is gay now because she's in the X books. But I know she's
I believe
scissoring Captain Britain
that had her hooking up with Betsy Braddock and Captain Britain.
Is the Betsy Braddock on this team? Is she Captain Britain?
I believe so, because the Psylocke is not Betsy Braddock.
Okay, well, if that is, then you know damn well that the book is going to be about them.
Yeah, well, here's your Betsy. So yes, she's got purple hair, but
Deadpool is only gonna be in for apparently he's not in for every single issue I've been hearing. So it's like they're gonna keep replacing the guest stars.
Yeah, if you look at here, it kind of says there's going to be a revolving door of Marvel guest stars, and first up is Deadpool. So, what's interesting is, if this quote is true, and we have nothing to say otherwise that it's not made up by Marvel PR. It's Thorne saying here that he made the pitch, so it doesn't necessarily sound like Brevoort picked up the phone and said, "Hey, I want you to write this, and this is what you're going to write." So
that'll come later.
Yeah, fortunately, but that might mean that the first story arc is good.
I'm sorry, the X-Men is gay fanfic now. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. X won't allow it, and X drives the bus. So this book is going to devolve into that. It is.
You know what we need? We need a poll on as far as which title is going to sell more, be more popular.
Well, okay. I've seen the characters in X-Force, and 2 of them that I know of have no interest in polls.
I think to answer your question,
what about checks?
The 2 books that are probably going to sell the most will be the Jed McKay X-Men book and then the Gail Simone Uncanny X-Men book, because
Lord
for the
help us.
casual readers, those are the two title names that people know the
Yeah.
most. The rest
Un-
of them are not going to sell well.
It is going to be like ASM, which is still, even though it's shit, it is the highest or second highest selling book every month. Uncanny X-Men is going to be crap, but it will be in the top 3 selling books every month because
Yeah.
they see the name and they're just going to buy it.
It won't be top 3, but it'll be top 10.
Yeah. Well,
No, I
plus-
think it's going to
plus,
be like
you know,
Uncanny X-Men, Amazing Spider-Man, and Batman.
yeah.
Like people are just going to blindly buy those.
Well, the
Well-
last 3 or 4 Uncanny X-Men didn't stay in the top 5.
Yeah.
And because they've gone to that, this is going to be about volume 8 or 9 of Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah. Which is absolutely crazy when you think about it. But
it's Marvel.
you know,
Yes.
and don't forget too, probably the better, fun, more fun question is, how many variants do you think each book is going to have? Because they haven't announced those yet.
Yeah,
Depends, is Mark Brooks crying over Twitter or is he going to actually draw something?
Yeah. But hey, I'll plant my flag here. That out of all 6 books that they've announced
The
that
pride
had
flag?
announcements so far, this was the one. This is the book that I'm the most intrigued about, because I liked initially what Jeff Thorne was doing on Green Lantern. Give him a shot on this. Forge has kind of been an underused character, and I think that putting him in the position that they are here in the book, I think makes sense. The rest of the team, I'm not sure about, but we'll see.
First issue, Forge is going to walk in on Rachel and Betsy, and he's going to say, "So that's what it's like for women scissoring women. Wow, I wish I could be a woman and to call America Chavez."
Oh,
this is gonna be.
and Eric has demonetized the stream.
This is going to be
Did
just.
you remember to turn on monetization?
I have no idea how to do that. I only just started the.
Only Angleton can.
Yeah, only.
But if he has
a
but if he has a set up their StreamYard that it does that, automatically, that's one thing. But he probably didn't.
Nope.
Well,
We did not monetize yesterday's stream either.
yeah. Oh, I don't know. Maybe who knows? But so that's X-Force. Any other thoughts before we move on?
Yeah. How's that Blake Snell working out for you so far?
What did he pitch? Was he the starter today?
Yeah, he got annihilated.
Whoa! Rhaegar.
It's spring training. It's spring training.
Rhaegar. Everybody loves the Acclaimed.
Yeah.
Yes, all 2,000 fans do. Some of the other comments here, Marani agreed with you about Captain America being the best strategist. MK saying surprised they never made Beast the leader of the X-Men. I think there was a time that could have happened, but he's basically pigeonholed into his scientist role, and very rarely do they put scientists as the leaders.
By the way, I caught that, and I'm going to have to excuse myself now because I'm going to head to that MSNBC retreat that I would rather go to than listen to a WWE stand for another minute.
Oh, stop it.
So.
Yeah, all right. So
yeah, say it with us. Everybody loves the Acclaimed.
Scissor me, Daddy.
Everybody loves the Acclaimed. Okay.
Yeet.
So the last X book coming out in July is Phoenix, and this is from
The
pseudo human, I guess we call her, Stephanie Phillips.
I call her Liza Blue, Marvel Light.
Yeah.
Her daddy's a rich guy, and that's how she got her job.
Has it ever been officially or just publicly announced who actually her father is and what he does?
Well, we can't because Maury's not here.
Yeah, I think Arnold gets to ask that question, not you.
I'm sure somebody. I'm sure it's known, but
yeah. I'm sure it's known, just nobody talks about it.
What? How? God, and you knew when they announced the first three. You said, "My God, if that's the top tier, how bad is the next wave going to be?" Well, now we know.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, this. She is mediocrity given form and flesh.
Yes.
And unfortunately, she's probably the best of the writers you mentioned. And yeah, and that Jeff Thorne probably has the most potential, but who knows?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I said if I wonder if Doc is just drinking more now.
Doc is the point where he's
he
trying.
wasn't on the stream. He wasn't on the stream Saturday, so hopefully he was okay.
Well, he hasn't
But yeah, no,
stopped drinking.
your boy Zach has done some great videos on Stephanie Phillips because he just is just aghast at just how just mediocre and just as he sometimes says, trying to portray a human. So here we go. During the final moments of Krakoa, currently being told in Rise of Powers of X, blah blah blah. Jean Grey finds herself at the epicenter of creation and rebirth, known as the White Hot Room. What shocking metamorphosis occurs that leads her to adopting a new costume and taking to the stars as the Phoenix? So first off, that's interesting because last I checked, Echo actually had the Phoenix power. So is that getting retconned out or something? But and then it says, with her deadly reputation preceding her, will the galaxy kneel or cower before her greatness? She is Jean Grey. She is Phoenix. She saves the world. She brings death. One woman alone in space who not only must do what no one else can do, she yearns to. In a desperate SOS from Nova, I'm not sure which Nova that is.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be little Sammy Alexander.
No, it says Richard Ryder.
Dick Ryder?
Over here, so brings the Phoenix to the edge of a black hole, hundreds of lives hang in the balance. Whatever she does, darkness upon her.
And that's from Dick Ryder, from Dick to the edge of a black hole.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So and then we get the most generic quotes from Stephanie Phillips about Jean is one of the most powerful characters I've ever written. The beauty and challenge of Jean is she's imbued with the cosmic force alongside moral shortcomings and empathy. The dichotomy between those two is incredibly special about Jean. I am curious if she has even read the Marvel wiki about.
Remember when Jean died, and just became, and her death was like was really impactful, and then all of a sudden, like now she's back, and she's just it's not even her. It's like having a clone.
Which time though?
I'm talking about the first time after she became Phoenix and she was killed.
Yeah, and so I don't know if they're counting this as supposed to be her new costume or this is just an homage cover and then we're going to see whatever her new outfit is afterwards, because I'm looking at this going like, this is pretty much her Phoenix look.
Yeah, but Bingman, your favorite writer of all times basically brought her back. Or favorite Superman writer, at least.
Jared Way? What?
What, John Byrne?
Yeah.
No. I like John Byrne for his participation in that miniseries, but I like a lot of it came after he stopped. He left. So
yeah, but I mean, I really have zero hope for this book. I mean, for a couple, just beyond the fact of Stephanie Phillips, you look at here that the two books they mention are her Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, and then Black Widow and Hawkeye, which
that's her current one.
So mediocre. And so dumb. And then the artist, at least initially on the book, is the guy doing White Widow, and I haven't thought much of the art on that and the 2 issues that I was able to stomach on that. So it was like, at least nothing else, put a good artist on here that can draw a beautiful Jean Grey.
I'm just concerned.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but nobody that Marvel wants reading that book wants a beautiful.
So I'm just concerned that there's more than one Ash. It's just from the ashes.
Oh yeah, multiple ashes. It's the ashes of the multiverse. But yeah, this book I think is dead on arrival.
None of these are going to make it through the first year.
Yeah. I mean, this one even more screams out, oh, it's going to be a 6-issue miniseries.
Yeah,
because I don't see the length of the story here to do it.
yeah. Going with I agree with Jim. If they really want to do a proper Phoenix series, they'd go with Rachel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that would have been
that Rachel. There's only one thing about Rachel now. Gay. That's all. That's all she is.
Mm-hmm.
I heard her last name is now Danvers.
Yeah.
I mean, no, yeah, it's because I said that's all that the people that they're pandering to care about with that character. So it might as well be Jean Grey. Because I said of course nobody's gonna read that either, but
yeah. So to finish up, we've got blurbs for the other 2 core books, to kind of take a look at. And so I'm guessing that we're going to learn the additional art teams. Although, as I was showing Venkman before we started, back in March, somebody had posted what word am I searching for here? When somebody discovers something and puts it out.
Leak.
Yes, thank you. Leak. God, this is what happens when you turn 50. You forget words.
I don't even remember turning 50.
Yeah. So leaked out, possible creative teams, and it's been pretty darn accurate, which means that probably the Wolverine book is going to be written by Saladin Ahmed and done by Greg Capullo.
Really? Wow.
Why?
I'm not really sure what the other 2.
Wolverine's gonna be praying in the middle of the street.
Why not just let Greg Capullo write it too?
Yeah, no, actually, that'd be about better.
I would be all for that. So here we have Gail Simone, David Marquez doing Uncanny X-Men. So the team is going to be based in New Orleans. It says here they're going to be outlaw heroes again. It's going to be Rogue, Gambit, Nightcrawler, Jubilee, and Wolverine. Not a bad team. I mean, obviously, we're seeing that right. We're basically seeing that team minus Nightcrawler right now in the X-Men 97 cartoon.
Minus Gambit.
Spoilers. But again, it's okay. So they're going to be outlaw heroes. We're getting the same thing with X-Force and X-Men. How is this going to be different than that? Plus the fact of, I was curious. I had to go back and I had to take a look.
Oh my gosh, this is basically. You know what this reminds you of? Well, yeah. I want to write X-Force. So do I. Okay, we guys can all write X-Force. We'll just call it different names. Everyone gets a trophy.
Yeah. And I say,
except for us.
I will say I am curious, and I mean, I do hope that they make New Orleans and that southern area kind of a part of the story, that it's not just their base and then they're off going someplace else. So I think you can tell some interesting stories, down in the bayou. But with Gail Simone, here's the thing: she hasn't written a regular title in almost 10 years. Red Sonja is basically the last regular title. The last full thing she did. Does anybody remember that Variants miniseries from last year?
Which one? I remember. I didn't read it, but I remember.
It was a 6-issue or 5 or 6-issue miniseries about various iterations of Jessica Jones through Marvel Multiverse. That was not good.
No. So I mean, if I were in charge of these, I'd have uncaring X-Men. I'd have emotional X-Men. I mean, I want emotional.
Did you say uncaring X-Men?
Yeah, uncaring.
That's awesome. I'd read that.
Emotional X-Men sounds a lot better. You could have all the emo, the ones who just don't care about anything on a team. They're like, I gotta be here today. Fuck.
Speaking of of words that Aaron coined fantagonism. Wes accidentally came up with snarkasm.
Okay.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it turned out he thought he was saying snarkgasm, but I think snarkasm's better.
Combination of snark and sarcasm.
I mean, it's
like I said, uncaring X-Men, unqualified X-Men.
I don't know how you would actually do snarkasm, but it sounds cool enough to where it's worth trying, I think.
It's where you try to be snarky, but it comes out sarcastic, and it's
Well,
just
but that's kind of sarcasm, kind of by its very nature.
Is
snark.
snarky, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but again, like I said, it sounded good.
Yeah. So I've got low expectations for this book because I don't think Gail Simone can write anymore.
Well,
We'll see, but I don't see it.
Gail Simone stopped being a writer in 2013.
Here's the problem. There was a time when, even as recent as like 2009, 2010, there were 6 or 7 X books, and you wanted to get them all.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, you wanted Jason Aaron's Wolverine. Yeah, don't know what the fuck happened to him. Anyway, now we're looking through 9 books, and I'm not speaking for myself because I checked out years ago, but here's poor LK trying to find something that he can actually hitch his wagon to because he wants to like some of these, but he's having trouble finding even one. This is the X-Men fucking franchise, and this is supposed to be the relaunch, and it's still this bad.
It's supposed to cater to everyone, unless you're white.
It's not. But it's.
Yeah.
Like I said, maybe Gail Simone will find it. Maybe this is. But the only way is if she does it just to prove it to herself, kind of like when Magneto built the ship with no metal, just to prove he could. Because nobody at Marvel's going to put any pressure on her, because it's so bad there that she was all they could get. Mm-hmm. So she's safe. She doesn't have to deliver. Hopefully she'll channel her 2002 version and try, but
that version is long since gone.
Oh, I you know that, and I know that, and I don't think she can find that again. But that's why I said the only way it doesn't suck is if she chooses to not make it suck, because Marvel's not going to carry the way, because whether it was variants. Remember Domino and her gal pals from about 7 years ago?
Yeah,
that was just god awful.
Yeah.
So and Marvel doesn't expect anything more than that out of her. So she's going to have to do it to prove she can do it to herself, because Marvel's not going to pressure her to be anything other than modern day Gale.
Yeah. Remember like that Jessica Jones series that she did?
Yeah, that was the variants. Yeah, that was last year.
That was the villain. There was just a version of Jessica Jones who found out that her crush was dating someone else, so killed all the X-Men.
Yeah, it was bad. And I'm a huge Jessica Jones fan. I have my Alias omnibus, and I've hated how they've written her for years now. It's just
you guys are
screwed. So Eric, real quick, I wanted to ask you: have you had anybody come into the store looking for X-Men books because they've been watching the X-Men '97 cartoon?
I am not there often. I mean, I stop off a couple times a week to drop off what I've done and pick up more stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I talked to the people a little bit, but nobody's brought it up. But if I had to guess, I would say no.
Okay. Well, I know Venkman you mentioned that in talking about that. Again, this is another thing where right now it's getting almost universal praise, and a lot of people are picking it up, and it's kind of like, okay, so
if people are picking it up, though,
imagine those people going into a comic book store and saying, "Yeah, hey, I've been watching the cartoon. I want to read X-Men."
And the shop will say, "Well, there's X-Men Adventures from the '90s. That's based on the cartoons."
That's the thing, though. That the thing with that the industry's never figured out is that people don't watch a cartoon or a movie and go into the store looking for that in comic form in any appreciable numbers. They never have. The trick is to get comic book fans interested, and that's where they've continued to drop the ball, whether it's for agenda purposes, political purposes, whatever the purpose being. Because remember, like Heidi McDonald said, I died 5 years ago, and make your jokes here, Black Cat. But I said that's maybe a couple people have come in that might have maybe used to read comics but then again, how would they even know about it?
Yeah, no, true. Well, and again, it's funny. This is where manga anime has beaten comics because, and I have been one of those where I've watched an anime going, oh wow, this is really awesome. I want to pick up the rest of the story, especially when I learn it's a manga, and I know I can go in the store and get the manga, and it's going to be 90 to 99% of what the anime is.
And what's great about that is that the mangas a lot of times it's a lot further than what the anime is because they're adapting it, and the anime is adapting usually word for word, scene for scene. So, let's say you don't want to wait another year for the season out, you can go pick up the manga and read ahead.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. So one last thing with the Uncanny X-Men I wanted to ask you guys about. So they list the team here as Rogue, Gambit, Nightcrawler, Jubilee, and Wolverine. Who's the leader in that group?
They're gonna make it be Rogue, and Wolverine's gonna be like the adult she talks to for advice, you know.
Yeah, and actually, I'm all right with that because Rogue has led teams before. She's actually been on the side of the Angels for over 40 years of comic book time now.
Or they could, I mean, if they don't want to do Rogue, I would do Wolverine.
They never do that because Wolverine that they never have him be a leader because he's usually on 2 or 3 teams at a time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more he doesn't have the temperament to be a good leader.
He doesn't, but
he has done before. He has led team before. Wolverine in the X-Men cartoon series, he led the teams.
Well, and that was because Wolverine was written completely out of character, but
he was written better.
But okay, so I mean, just kind of take the modern day politics piece out of it, because I was just looking at him and I was just like, I don't see a what I think of as a traditional leader in that group of 5. At first, I was thinking maybe it could be Nightcrawler, but no, he's not really. I've never really seen leadership skills.
I think Rogue was the leader during the Uncanny Avengers era.
Yeah, she's been the leader the most of that bunch.
I would swap out Jubilee for Kitty Pryde.
Unfortunately,
Kitty Pryde
I know
is in Chicago, and of course, and I wonder if she'll have Eve's haircut too.
Oh God! Screw you, Breen. Screw you.
What?
Yeah, we get to the last in the book. I know I said I had 0 expectations for a couple of these books, but this was the first one that just made me audibly groan when they
exceptionally gay X-Men.
By
Eve Ewing.
So Eve Ewing, who is a writer of mediocre talent at best, who got thrust upon Marvel because some lunatic online, when Marvel announced the Riri Williams Ironheart book, said, "Oh, hey, you've got the same hairstyle that Ironheart does, and you're an English professor. You should write the Ironheart book." And then started a campaign to pressure Marvel, and because Marvel is full of a bunch of idiots, they said, "Yeah, okay, let's get Eve Ewing to write the Ironheart book." She has since wrote that. I think she did a Black Panther book. She did that god-awful Monica Rambeau miniseries.
It started off good, and then it went the way of Scott Snyder.
Oh, it was god-awful. It was not Monica Rambeau.
From what I've heard, her Riri Williams was all right. Like, she actually improved the character over Bendis.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a character that she actually cared about. After that, like, she phoned everything else in.
Yeah. So the synopsis of this is MutantKind's 2 greatest teachers. Yeah. So Professor Xavier and Storm. No, I'm mold the next generation of X-Men. Kate Pryde, so not Kitty, has returned home to Chicago following the war with Orcus. Having stepped away from the world of mutantdom, she is nevertheless called back into action as she crosses paths with a trio of new young mutants who clearly need guidance and training. Unfortunately for Kate, Emma Frost thinks so as well. So first off, we've already kind of seen the storyline where Kate and Emma Frost are at loggerheads in terms of trying to train students. Let's see. Ewing's quotes here. Longtime fans of Kitty Pryde can count on the kinds of adventures you expect from her as a classic favorite, while I hope new and old readers alike will get to love this all-new team. Kitty, the one-time kid sister, has to reckon with her own memories, good and bad, of being a child of Xavier as she navigates a role as leader and mentor for a new generation of mutants who are trying to make their way in a time of crisis.
There's only one thing wrong with this. Emma Frost,
Yeah.
is she gonna have enough time to do this and also hang out with her husband, Tony?
Emma? Who knows? It's a good question. I'm not sure where that's going to stand.
Even though she married him under false circumstances, basically using an alias name.
Yeah.
No.
But I will say the few times that I've kind of seen that relationship pop up, it's actually kind of a cool relationship when you think of the two characters and their personalities. Again, a good writer could really have a lot of fun with that. But yeah, this, and again, she's saying that she hopes that this will be for some 13 or 14-year-old readers. We'll see. I know I've heard something about that part of the storyline is that Kate goes back to Chicago and is a barista, which
why don't they just do?
Gives me an ice cream headache when I think about it. When Kitty Pryde is one of the smarter, more intelligent X-Men. She's got she's a scientific genius at some level. She would have some kind of job at a think tank.
Now she's not going to work as a barista. If she's going to Chicago, she's going to work in a pizza place selling deep dish pizza.
Now, to be fair, there was a miniseries called Mechanics about 20 years ago, and she was a bartender in Chicago. So it's not as Mariko Tamaki as you might think.
Yeah.
If I recall, that wasn't that
also.
Very
I think it makes
either Breen. So I'm not sure that's a great example. Mechanics?
No, even Black Cat.
Yeah. I think it makes a lot of sense that Kitty goes into Chicago because she's one of the few people that could just, not get shot.
Jeez.
So folks, that is your X-Men lineup. We know there's a book called X Factor still to be announced, and then of course there's solo books for Wolverine and Storm. We will see. I'm guessing that we'll probably get the announcements for those either this coming week or possibly in the next week or two, because they'll because you got to figure that probably the other 3 are going to be books that come out in August, and then my God, will there be 3 more X books in September after that to make 12? Ugh, that just sounds horrible. But so we'll see. So guys, any further thoughts here on the X-Men?
Well, they got, where's the California X-Men? Where's the Florida X-Men? The Florida X-Men, they're undercover. Have to take out.
This isn't the 50 state
The Florida X-Men are just regular Florida people.
No.
Cyclops sends a team of covert X-Men to Florida to help Andrew Gillum get back the election that was stolen from him by Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Next stop, Georgia, to save President of.
Oh my gosh! Really? Seriously, a Florida base be like, the evil governor passed this, so that's like they're spreading the People's Liberation, or anti-human or anti-mutant propaganda in schools.
Disinformation abounds.
Yes.
Yeah. So, folks in the chat, tell us: are there any? Which X books are you excited for? Are there any that you're excited for? Again, it's hard to have a lot of hope for this because it's just a lot of rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. And Breen, as you pointed out, it's pretty clear that either Brevoort's Rolodex is gotten very, very small, or there's a lot of people that said, "Nah, I'm good. I have no interest."
Which it was the latter. I mean, there were a lot of people. My God, Kelly Suda can't write a comic. Turned him down. Why she was asked, I do not know.
I have
here, let me ask you this, Eric. If Kelly Sue was, said, yes, I want to write a book, who are you kicking off of the list that we know so far?
Well, given that she was able to kick Dan Abnett off of a book, I'm guessing she could probably kick anybody but Gail or Eve off of theirs.
Well, okay, but what I'm saying is, if you rated these six writers in a tier, who is Kelly Sue beating? Because right now I've got her like 7th out of the 6.
The only person she's beating is Matt. And I don't know if he likes it or not, but
Not this Matt.
no, her husband, Matt.
Yes, Matt Fraction.
Yeah.
And who
have you ever seen those two together?
I try to avoid Google image.
They don't even look. Well, they were both. I think Seth Meyer had them on as a couple one night. They don't even look like human beings. They really don't.
Well, I mean, they did meet on the Warren Ellis forum, so are they human beings?
Well, fortunately, he put a ring on it. That's why he didn't get Me Too like everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like he they had a child together. No, they only have like animals. Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, even if even if they conceived a child, it would probably come out an animal.
He's 8 years younger than her too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see.
I think they have 2 kids, and Kelly is brainwashing them.
Yeah. So let's see.
Are they trans or non-binary?
They're both.
Last time I had the misfortune of seeing one of their tweets that was like she was getting her 8-year-old's hair dyed red like hers.
No. Okay. Well,
they have no shot.
I would honestly, at today's age, I would say Kelly, if she wanted to come on a book, she'd be able to bump off Gail.
Possibly.
I would trust. Kelly Sue DeConnick, I can remember, had one series that was decent. It was a Sif series and Journey into Mystery.
So basically, Matt Fraction wrote it for her.
Well, but here's the thing. At the time, almost everything from Marvel was being written well. So I don't know if it was you had to bring it to not, really look bad, because there were standards in those days that have long since ceased to exist. But I don't know. But but she hasn't. I mean, I'm sorry. Once was it from Bitch Planet? It's been all downhill.
Yeah.
XLs. The way I read XLs today, if I was in the Marvel Universe, these are 5 straight kids, trying to escape the hierarchy.
No, there were 5. There were 5 straight kids, and they were exiled from the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know what? So what's funny so far about all these books, especially, I was surprised. Well, not surprised, but notice how all of the mutants that Vita Ayala created have just been completely memory hold. You would have thought possibly they might show up in that NYX book, because they are in.
No, I think they're waiting for one of the Vita to come over and write, because. Have you guys noticed?
Vita is pretty much done with comics.
No. Have you noticed that out of all the writers, none of them have this. None of them are like, basically cosplaying for this. Let's say for the YouTube algorithm.
Hmm.
Well, do you know why? You know why Vita doesn't get work?
Why is that?
She's still basically hiding in her apartment, masked up in the shower.
No way.
Yeah. And because she won't go to shows, she won't do any of that stuff. But Danny will. So basically, they've said, well, we've already got. She kind of is Vita, and she'll make herself available. So that's why she's still getting work and Vita's not.
Yeah, and Danny's getting work and has a GoFundMe. Did you contribute to Danny's GoFundMe yet?
I'm a little short on cash this life. And I said, she is a complete idiot. But
So have you been reading Zach's posts?
Yes. and I heard, yeah, and I heard from a friend that's
Yes.
why Vita's not getting work. So that's I mean, Mags would probably be getting more work, but she's still scared to death. He's still scared to death of COVID,
Yeah.
and so's his husband or wife, whatever the hell it is he's married to.
Yeah. Well, before we go, I wanted to show this off because I got this finally last week. So kind of one of the little holy grails. I think you guys have heard me talk about this once before. So this is the trade for dying in the gutters, aka Who Killed Rich Johnson.
Oh, what?
And there's your roster of real life comic pros as they were written. Yeah. Wake up. Yeah, I mean, I will say, have you ever seen the trade paperback this size, Eric?
No.
I was shocked when it came in the mail because here it is. Here's the size compared to a regular comic book. So it's not quite like a manga digest, but it's definitely smaller than your normal.
CSI, always on, less filling.
But yeah, it's interesting, especially the personalities, and as I say, the way they have fun at each other. There's no way this book could be written in 2024.
You really messed with chat. They're like, which Zach? Our Zach or our Zach?
Your boy Zach. I don't believe Zach is making posts on YouTube looking at Danny Lore's tweets.
Well, he's not reading with us for sure, so he might be doing something.
No, that's true. Yeah. Well, hopefully things are working out for Zach.
But I did see him defending somebody. It might have been Alan Richson. Yeah, he popped up yesterday, and then something else that I can't remember what it was, but I'll give him credit. He'll put himself out there and things that his peeps are not going to agree with him on.
I mean, he's anti Michelle Pfeiffer, so I mean, he's got stones, bro. It's the dumbest take I've ever heard of, though. But I mean, he'll still sit though.
Well, once again, another example of you don't want to meet your heroes or hear from them,
or you become your hero.
He was fine on Reacher, and I wish I didn't know what his political leanings were.
Well, but I still don't think we do, because I think he's been I don't know if it's one of those. Somebody had a great analogy said he saw what happened to Chris Pratt, the only other admitted Christian out there. So I think he's overcorrected trying to stay in Hollywood's good graces because he's on the precipice of superstardom. He could parlay this into, he could be the next, what used to be Arnold now is Dwayne. Next should be him.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you have to at least play the game, and the best way to play the game is to hate the right people.
It's definitely time to play the game.
I was gonna say,
okay, since the stream's just about over, I will say I did watch some of SmackDown Friday night, and I was very pleasantly surprised that they have gone with the storyline that Cody won it fair and square. I was so afraid that they were going to pull some kind of shenanigans about how he didn't follow bloodline rules or he cheated or something else and take his belt away. But
no,
here's one reason why half the people involved in that storyline are gone for months. There's no percentage in that.
Yeah.
So and they're, but you know what? But again, I get it. You guys think that they can do no wrong. That's wonderful. They are, but even Cody Rhodes is just a cliche now.
Yep.
Once undesirable, now undeniable, and now undisputed.
So
it's like a cliche. It doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, cliches aren't inherently bad.
But here's the thing: when you're appealing to the lowest common denominator, you have to reinforce it every time. Just like every time you see Bianca Belair, she will be flipping her hair within 3 seconds. If you ask it every time you hear Uso open her mouth, it's going to start with Yee.
And now Jimmy and Jay are still feuding. What? It's just been going on for how many years?
No, they brought in more They
Oh
brought
no,
in more Samoans to turn on
yeah.
Jimmy.
Oh no, Tama Tonga took out dispatched
I forgot
from
which
the bloodline.
Jimmy J. Which one's the good? Which one's the heel? Which one's the face? Because those I can't tell apart.
Jay is the face. Jimmy's the well, I should say the one that used to be in the bloodline, but basically was taken out by Solo and Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga is in WWE.
Solo, that's a good movie.
Yeah, and so we're just waiting for Jacob Fatu to show up. I think that'll be the new
Fatuda, Tamanka,
the new part of the bloodline. So we'll see how it goes.
Tamanka is gonna come out next.
Yeah. So no, I don't think so. I think he's still staying in New Japan. But yeah, so folks, thanks for hanging out with us. Those are our opinions on the X books coming up. Wish we had better news, but it's hard to be hopeful when you look at the decisions that are being made. And
for those of you who made fun of us because quit crying because this is the new X-Men when they did Hoxpox and they did all this crap. Who's sorry now? Because
no, there was nothing about Hoxpox that interested me. So
but then when Greg Land took over and everything and ruined it all.
Oh no, I'm saying
you're like it's not made for you.
Doc was a big X. He's been a big X-Men fan his whole life. Yeah, that's been his. The event. And the X-Men are Doc's Avengers. He liked it a lot when it first came out.
Yeah,
I couldn't even go that far because I thought I said, this doesn't fit in the 60 years of continuity that came before it. They're just now all of a sudden, if you're a mutant, you get a pass, and all of our friends we've made over the years we've turned on. So that made no sense. And then whatever it turned into was revealed to be a different universe. That's what they should have done. They should have found them all in a room somewhere. Mm-hmm. And they should have Bobby Ewing in the shower this whole era.
Or I mean, minimum, they had the whole pod people, plot sitting right there because there was these plant beings from a different planet or something. That was the people that Beast was working with. It would have been very easy to say that the X-Men had gotten replaced when they went through Resurrection.
Moira McTaggart she's a mutant. They revealed she's a mutant. She's gone through different multiple realities.
Yeah.
Lifetimes.
She kept dying.
That's what they're. I mean, that's how.
So this isn't 616 then.
Well, that's how they're teasing that they're going to fix this. Because I've tried to read it, but I'll say this: they could go a long way by just making these simple, disconnected storylines. If they actually went that route and say all 6 of the books that have been announced right now are really kind of just going to be separate stories, that would help a lot, because I've tried reading some of the X-Men stuff lately, and it's so convoluted and so just dense with just gobbledygook that it's just unreadable for me.
And it's worse because the people that have done the work aren't good enough to make the pieces fit. It just it's just part of it. Again, I said it's. Yeah, somebody brought up and said, one of the problems that Marvel has when they do stuff like this is they pretend like there's no consequences for what has come before.
Yeah,
that might actually not be a bad idea in this case. Just like to pretend none of this happened as best you can. But again, like I said, we're not. Once again, this is not a roster full of the best and brightest. So I feel sorry for people that keep waiting for Marvel to turn it around because it's not going to happen.
Do you know what's shocking? The best X-Men book out right now that's being put out is the Steve Fox book, the prequel to the actual comic book series where he has to write it as a conservative.
Yeah,
basically because there's no virtue signaling, none of that crap, because it has to adhere to what's going on in the actual cartoon series,
and it also has to be a period piece too. It has to be set in the late 1990s. I didn't get as much enjoyment out of the second issue as I did the first one. I just started after about halfway through it. I just kind of started flipping through it, not really reading it. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, it's his best work by far, which is
I know. It's
damning with the faintest of praise. But
so I'm thinking it's not even him writing it. We got another Kelly Thompson thing here. Who's writing this?
well, I know, what was it? Somebody had said that supposedly he had been consulting or working with Bo DeMaio on like the plot lines or something. So he may actually just be doing the.
I do know that Kelly Thompson can write, because before she went to Marvel, she worked at IDW. She wrote the Answer the Call thing for Ghostbusters. They brought the female Ghostbusters to meet the new Ghostbusters in a crossover event, and the girls were written. The girls were written great.
Okay,
so
whatever Ghostwriter was. So with that, we're just past 90 minutes, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks everybody here who showed up. We really appreciate it. Thank you, anybody who finds this video afterwards. Again, if you want to help support the channel, please click like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Click that notification bell. Make sure you click it for all so you get notifications for all the videos that pop up on I Love Comics. And of course, you can help support the channel by going to Ko-Fi there at /Englentine from I Love Comics and drop in a dollar, whatever. It really helps out a lot, as well as if you can spread the word about I Love Comics on your social media. So
right on your bathroom walls.
Well, no, don't do that. We don't condone vandalism here. But thanks, Venkman. Thanks, Eric.
Their own bathroom walls. They can vandalize their own
thanks,
property.
Black Cat. You know, I know how hard it was to come on the stream after Liverpool lost to lowly. We appreciate you being here.
Just put I Love Comics, the URL, on your bulletin board at your local college.
There you go. Yeah, you can put one of those old flyers up there. Actually, make the little cutouts that people can pull off to remind yourself with them.
And it says "Let's go, Brandon" underneath it too.
So yeah, and again too, the notifications. I made sure to kind of like put this stream up a few hours early, so hopefully it would get through the algorithms. And Glenn's are saying here they got the notification at the 75-minute mark.
That's why Blenzer, I've been kind of like sharing the links and stuff with you on your Twitter, and at the time when we're starting. So you if you check your Twitter, you'll see it. Because he always he gets notification on Geeky Puppet Show is because he follows me on Twitch. Because I go live on Twitch same time I'm streaming, YouTube. He gets a Twitch notification every single time. So,
yeah.
Maybe I Love Comics should get a Twitch account.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Maybe we'll show up on Rumble sometime. So, thanks again, everybody. This is LK. Have a great rest of your night, and we will talk to you soon.
Later, folks.
Later.
Adios.